Well, happy Friday afternoon, everyone. I hope y'all had a wonderful Friday. I did. It's just hot, but I had a great Friday. Just getting home, and I made a pot of coffee and made me my cup of coffee. I don't know about y'all, but I have to have coffee in the afternoon when I get home from work. It's just kind of a thing, kind of a, I don't know, a habit or whatever, but it's soothing, it's relaxing, it's like just something you do. You come home, you make your pot of coffee, and you just, drink 1 or 2 cups, sometimes more, it just depends on what's happening. But tonight, I am going to start slicing and dehydrating onions because we had purchased a big old bag probably about a week ago from Sam's, big old 10-pound bag. And I know that we're not going to go through all these onions before they start going bad. So I'm going to dehydrate them. I'm going to keep a couple out. I'm going to dehydrate them and then show you different ways how to use dehydrated onions. So that is what this video is about. So I know a lot of us will go and we'll just get a bag of onions or maybe a big bag like I did, and we just don't use them. And we all have all these good intentions of freezing them, preserving them, or whatever. And if you're like me, it just gets out the way. But or you don't have freezer room, you don't want to freeze them, or whatever. But now that we have this dehydrator, I'm going to start dehydrating a lot of stuff and using them and taking you on that journey, because there is so many ways that you can use dehydrated vegetables. So what we're going to do now, of course, this video is not the whole process of dehydrating onions, because that takes about 18 hours, but you're going to come along this journey with me. All right, so all I'm doing now is just slicing the onions up, slicing them, and they're going to be in like rings. And then I'm going to put them in the dehydrator. I'm going to show you how to do that once they're all sliced up and everything. I'm going to put them in the dehydrator, and then we are putting the dehydrator outside to dehydrate, because we do not want 18 hours of onions being dehydrated in this house. We would not be able to stand it. So I'm going to slice these up, and then I'll be back to see y'all in just a little bit. Okay, so I got a big bowl of the onions chopped up. So what I'm doing now is I am just doing thin layers on the tray, on the dehydrator tray. And trying not to get all choked up from this onion, but trying just to, not let them get in the big clumps, kind of separating them in the rings, just so the air will flow through here and they will dehydrate a lot quicker. So we're gonna put these in here. We're gonna do tray and tray after tray, and then when I'm finished, I'm gonna go ahead and complete all these trays, and then we're gonna bring it outside and we're gonna get it going, so that way maybe by mid-morning this tray will be done. Because honestly, I have a lot of onions. I think I might have to do 2 rounds of it. Honestly, truthfully, we had a lot of onions here, more than what I figured. So we're gonna be coming up with all kind of things to do with these dehydrated onions for sure. But yeah, we're gonna get these trays done. So I want to know how many of y'all have done this and what y'all use y'all's dehydrated onions for. That's what I want to know. Give us some tips. Put some stuff down there if you've done it. If you've never dehydrated. Honestly, I am extremely new to dehydrating. My goal is to one day have an Excalibur dehydrator with the 9 trays. But you know what? Right now I have this one and it works. So, I'm going to go with it. But one day I definitely want an Excalibur. And let us know what your favorite dehydrator is. Maybe it's a completely different brand, Let us know. Put that in the comments so we can do some research, especially for those of us wanting to do a little bit more and getting a little more involved in dehydrating, because it's a wonderful way to preserve food other than freezing it or canning it, right? It's just a different way to put it up. Depending on what it is, you know, you might want it in different forms, like this onion here, which is going to be, I'm really excited, y'all, to see how this turns out. I've never dehydrated onions, so this is the first for both of us. But it is something that I want to do, and you know what? I have a ton of okra that I have tons frozen. And so I seen today where you can dehydrate your okra and you can pulverize it and then use it to thicken up your stews and your soups and stuff. So I'm going to do that too, because I have quite a bit of okra. And who doesn't? If you grow okra, you know you're going to have quite a bit of okra. That's like one thing that you can count on coming up and producing for you. It will definitely make you feel good about yourself, right? Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're almost finished with these trays, and then we're going to move outside. And so I'll bring you along outside when we go and we get it set up. And then we will be back in, 18 hours or so. And we're going to finish this video up with the dehydrated onions and with the different things that we're going to be doing with it, to give you a couple of recipes on that that you can do other than just dehydrated onions. So I'm going to finish doing these last couple of trays, bring this outside and get my area set up, and I will be back to see you. Okay, so we're outside. I got it set up, the dehydrator on a table outside in our carport, because you just don't want onions being dehydrated in your house for 18 hours. Whew, could you imagine? You'd be crying and tearing up, and it would just be really bad. And you hear our little Loki over there. You'll meet him in another video. But, so, we came outside, got it set up. It's set out here, a stainless steel table. And we're going to cut it on. And it is going to have to dehydrate for approximately 12 hours. So I'm going to check them, you know, like tonight before I go to bed. When I wake up in the morning, I'm going to check them first thing. And we're just going to go from there and see, you know, stages, how it goes. Like I said, we're doing this all together. And the reason why I wanted to do that is, I mean, you think about it, no, these onions did not come from her garden, which, praying next year I will have a ton of onions and we can do that with. But here's the deal. When you're looking to homestead and you're looking, you know, to start that lifestyle, you know what, you might not have a garden already set up and ready to go and get your vegetables and it all be fresh, you know, like we want it. But we have to start somewhere, okay? And so I do try to get like farmers market vegetables or organic if it's in the store, you know, if it's available. But if you have a large quantity of stuff that you know is going to go bad, you need to learn how to preserve it. That's one way of, you know, being self-sustainable, because you're throwing away money, okay? So that's what, you know, you start figuring out how much you throw away in your, you know, in your groceries because you set it there and it went bad before you could eat it or do anything with it. I know I am guilty, because I'll have these good intentions that I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and then a week later it's like rotten because I never got to it. So you need to start making time to do these little steps. It didn't take me long to cut up this onion, and I'm gonna have to do this twice because I have a ton of onion when you start cutting it up. So I'm gonna have to rerun it tomorrow too. But you know, take out 30 minutes, take out an hour of time, you know, go make your cup of coffee, a cup of tea or whatever, relax and do it, and preserve the food that you have and stop throwing away money, okay? That's tip 101. Stop throwing away money. Even it might not be fresh from your garden, but it is something that you can preserve. It is something that you can put up for that time that might not be available. So we're going to cut this on. We're going to let it start and we're going to let it run. And then we're going to come back and we're going to check it. So we'll see what it looks like in a few hours. Well, we just finished dehydrating the onions and I brought them inside to process them. And I did all of the other trays just to save time, but I did leave some of the last one to show you how we're going to do it. So I did it two ways, okay? I made an onion powder and then I have a jar of dehydrated onions. And so what I did for the jar is you just take the onions and you just kind of crush them. You can leave them whole if you want to, but you crush them and you just fill your jar, and you can just keep filling it, and then you label it, of course, and put the date on it when you did it, just to have it on there, you know. But you can use it and add to it, you know, if you cook anything like we do in the South, you use onion in absolutely everything. So they're not gonna last very long at all. So that's what you do with just the dry dehydrated onion. You can see them, and they really shrink down once they're dehydrated. So what you think is a lot of onion, y'all, really is not once it's dehydrated. So that is one way to do it, and I'll go and I'll clean the rest of this in a minute. Now the other way that I did it was I put a couple of trays into this mini prep. This is a Cuisinart. It's just a cheap little, I think we got it off of Marketplace, to tell you the truth, blender. And you just cut it on and you grind it up. And let me show you what you're going to have with that. And here it is. You have onion powder. Isn't that awesome? And not only is it, oh, look at that, it fell through. Oh, I'm gonna have to clean that. But not only is it something that is healthy, hopefully it's as organic as you can possibly get, but it is preserving excess vegetables, excess you know, food that you buy that you're not having to throw away, and that's why we are doing this. And if you look on the back of onion powder that you buy in the store, onions are probably not the only thing in there, and you know that onions is the only thing in here. So you're getting pure onion powder, which means it's going to be a lot stronger. So if a recipe called for a teaspoon or a tablespoon of onion powder, you know you're going to have to scale back a little bit, unless you really like onion, or it's going to be really strong. So those are two ways that I am using dehydrated onions. One, leaving it in the dehydrated form, and I'm going to put it back into like roasting gravy, or you can do it in eggs, you can do it in soups, anything. You know, I'm going to put it back in there. Or I have the onion powder, which you can still use in gravies and eggs. And if you just don't want the chunks of onion, but you want the flavor, you have your onion powder. So that's two ways of doing dehydrated onions. Now I have a whole gallon bag of chopped onions that we did last night. I still have to dehydrate and get those in here. So that is my dehydrated onions. If you have any questions or you have any comments, if you have any tips, put them below. And if you like this page and this is stuff that you want to learn on how to be a little more self-sustainable in this disposable world, then go ahead, click that subscribe button and just start looking for our videos. Y'all have a great day and be blessed.